Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault 2, and we're back out here in the garage for another upcoming projects and first impressions video. I hope you guys enjoy these daily videos where we can just talk about whatever. Sometimes it's whatever is in the news regarding guns and politics, and sometimes it's just about the guns themselves, or it's about the mean comments like we did last night. So today, we have a bunch of stuff on the workbench, and there's a bunch of cool stuff I want to show you today. And we're going to start off with the upcoming projects, because today I went and saw my friend Jack. Jack number one, the OG Jack, and I returned a couple things I have reviewed of his, and he had two new guns. I knew he was going to have one for me, but he surprised me with a second, because I think he went to his local gun shop and found something that tickled his fancy, and he bought it. And I'm actually kind of excited about it because it's from a company I have only heard of and never reviewed. But let's talk about the one I have heard of. It is the Smith & Wesson M&P9 Shield, and this is the newest Performance Center one. And I was really excited when he told me about this one, because I have some experiences with the Shields. I've reviewed the Shield Easy and the Shield Plus, but I have not reviewed a Shield Performance Center. And actually, one of the guns that's kind of in, I don't say it's in queue, but eventually I'm going to get around to reviewing as part of my guns of my personal carry rotation, is this guy right here. This is one of the guns that I personally carry from time to time, and this is my Smith & Wesson 9 Shield Plus Performance Center, but this is the Performance Center version that came out when, I guess, they announced the Plus version of the Shield. So the Plus means it has a magazine with different dimensions and geometry, allowing it to kind of be like the SIG P365, where you get a whole bunch of rounds in a small magazine. This holds 13. So you really maximize capacity in a subcompact gun. But this is the one that has more of the traditional serrations on the slide, and it has the ported barrel. And overall, its length is quite short. Now, I have reviewed the non-ported, non-performance version of this gun, but I haven't reviewed this one yet. And this is one of those that, when I eventually get around to, it's going to be part of my series on the guns of my carry rotation, and I haven't made one of those in a while. But I was excited because Jack told me he had the latest one, which is this one. And they've redesigned a few things. You can see the cocking serrations are a little bit different. I think they're a little bit more aggressive. They've added a little bit of length to the slide. I might not be the biggest fan of that, because they're doing the exact same thing SIG did with the P365, is take a subcompact gun and make it bigger and bigger, and eventually it like loses its original like philosophy. I always talk about the Ford Thunderbird. You know, when it came out in the 50s, it was a competitor to the two-seat Corvette. And then by like the 1970s, the Thunderbird was the size of a land yacht. They just lost their way. And I feel like Smith & Wesson and SIG are doing that with these really awesome subcompact guns. But this is getting a little bit long, but instead of having barrel porting here on the side, we have what looks like a compensator, but it's not a compensator. That actually is a ported barrel, because you can see it right there. Now, I don't know how well that's going to work, because it's right here at the end, and there's only one slot for it. So it's probably going to run a little bit cleaner, because on the one that I have, with those 3 barrel ports on each side, which gives you a total of 6, it does make the top of the gun kind of dirty. But this might minimize that. But everything else about the gun seems to be about the same. It has your typical Smith & Wesson M&P trigger pull. And that is the one thing about the M&Ps that I've always been disappointed with. Even in the 2.0 series, they just never got it as good as Glock. Glock just had the better... And I know some people say, well, Glocks have terrible triggers. Well, the Shield triggers are worse, especially that reset. It's just not tactile. It's not audible. It's just... It's better than the first series, the Gen 1s, but they just never quite mastered it. But this is going to be a cool one, and it's the newest version of it, so I'm really excited about this one. I know it has a option for a optic on the top, but I think I'm just going to run this with iron sights, because when it comes to carry guns, I prefer mine to have iron sights. I know that's kind of blasphemous for some people, but I like the whole keep it simple, stupid philosophy. So, Smith & Wesson, M&P9 Shield Plus, and this is the latest version. So I have to definitely see what the exact model name is. I'm sure it has something special, but that's what this is. Definitely a little bit of a departure from the ones of the past. And it's brand new in box, and I guess it comes with 3 magazines. You got a flush fit one and a couple of extended ones. So you get some formidable firepower there. All right, so the next one is a firearm I'm going to have to do a little bit of research on. I've only heard of these guns and never seen one in person and never fired one. This is the Rost Martin, and it's R-O-S-T, Rost Martin. And I guess it's a company based here in Dallas, which is kind of cool. So it's a North Texas company. And it's supposed to be kind of like a Glock, but I don't think any of the parts are interchangeable. And it's just metal polymer, I guess, but it feels really high quality. I'm impressed with the build and the finish on the slide and the frame. And by the way, if you hear a weird sound in the background, like my tummy is grumbling, it's not. My wife is out in the garden watering, and whenever she uses the hose, it has that sound. So that's what it is. It sounds like there's some like drilling or something going on the wall. So anyway, we get 4 magazines with this thing. They hold 15 rounds. I'm really fascinated by the color of that follower. It's kind of like a pastel yellow. I've never seen a follower that color. Not that that means anything or changes anything. But the gun feels quality. And the trigger, pretty nice. Pretty nice. They said it's kind of a Glock clone, but as I said, I don't think it's a Glock. Because I know the slide comes off different. It comes off with those 2 little latches you pull down, but it doesn't come off the front of the gun. And it does have a striker indicator in the back. So the gun's happy to see you. And then when you pull the trigger, you can see it pulls that striker back. So the striker is at half cock, which I do like. So it does share that safety feature from the Glock. And we also have a trigger blade safety. But to get this slide off, I think you got to pull it back a little bit. Pull those tabs down, and it goes forward and up. So it doesn't come all the way forward. And you can't even put it onto the rails like a typical Glock, because look at the back plate. It's solid here. So there's no way of putting it on the rails like that. But internally, the gun looks very Glockish. Right there. Rails are in the same place. And the magazine release is ambidextrous. So that's a nice upgrade over the Glock. Here is what the slide looks like. So you definitely see some design influence of the Glock, but I don't think things are compatible. I don't even know if the magazines are compatible. I guess we could try that out. I know the slide is not going to be. And that's all it takes to put the slide back on. That's it there. Let me get a Glock magazine. Let's see if that actually fits. So, I don't think it will. No, it's not going to work. No, there's no way, because the hole in the magazine where now it's not even going to fit. So, some people said they're kind of Glock clones, but there's no Glock compatibility. So, the magazines are not going to work. So, it's like its own thing. But, you do get 4 of them, which is really nice. So a lot of companies are real stingy on them. And this thing is brand new in the box. I think Jack has said he hasn't even fired it. So he's going to let me pop the cherry on this one. So that's pretty cool. I'm excited about this one because honestly, it feels good. And I've really only heard good things about it. And it's a North Texas company. So let me know in the comment section, have you guys heard anything about Rost Martin? And the model on this one is the RM1C. RM1C. But I think that's a very attractive looking striker fired pistol. Yeah. All right. And then finally, we're going to move on to the first impressions. And this is actually kind of an update. And I'm not going to put this product in the title because I don't want people finding the video thinking it's a review, because this video has been quite a few weeks in the making, and I really want most people's first time hearing about it be on my channel on the proper review. But I have shared with you some things that have happened with it. It's the Dara, I think it's how you properly pronounce it, the Dara or Dara is what I think it is, Island Kit for the Glock Gen 4. Now, maybe you remember a few weeks ago, I had one of these in, and I have to use my wife's Glock because she's the only one that has a 19 Gen 4. My two 19s is a Gen 3 and a Gen 5, and this kit only works with the Gen 4. And it is an island barrel kit, and look at that. That is a cool little feature here. The whole package is very affordable. You get a recoil spring, barrel, slide. I put on the optic, but you get fiber optic sights in the rear. And when I first got this, which by the way, I believe it is made in Turkey, and it is compatible with their DY9 pistols, but you can buy it just for your Glock. I have to say that when I first reviewed it, I think I shared with you all the problems I had. I was like, uh-oh, we're having failures to feed, failures to extract. The red dot did not mount correctly. It was not milled right. And I had so many problems with it, I had to contact the company. And I said, listen, guys, I can't review this because it doesn't work. And this company was awesome. One of their, I guess, sales managers reached out to me and said, listen, some reviewers have had problems with it. Some of them have not. We're investigating what the issue is. And based off of what I experienced, I said, it's most likely going to be a spring issue. I think the gun is either too sprung, and I think there's a problem with the extractor spring. And of course, I mentioned the milled out portion of the slide. It wasn't right. It's a little bit off. And when you try to mount anything with an RMR cut, it fits on there way too tight. So they got back to me and said, hey, can you send it in? I said, yeah, I'll send it back to you. So I sent it to them. And they said upon investigation, a number of these were coming in with wrong recoil springs. They thought that they would just use a certain spring weight that would be very similar to a Glock Gen 4 19. But when you port the barrel, it has to be changed. So the manufacturer realized the error. They ordered new ones. They changed all that out. They changed something about the extractor, and they made sure that all of the ones that they were sending out had the proper RMR cuts. And it's fixed. It's fixed. I took this to the range today. It ran 100%, strong ejections. It has about the same accuracy as a Glock 19, so it's not like you get like staccato 2011 accuracy out of this. This island barrel definitely works. And take a look at that. It reminds me so much of like a staccato. So you have the barrel ports on the top, and those ports are right in the barrel, not in the slide. It's really a cool setup. And I mounted one of the red dots I've recently reviewed, this Siley red dot. It was just one I had around here. I knew it had an RMR cut on it. It fits perfectly, no issues, and it just runs well. So they got everything fixed. And they told me what the problems were. And this company is so awesome. I told them I would like to, when I make the video and review it, I want to start off and go on the journey. And I'm going to do a little kind of like preamble to the video, be like, hey, I need you to watch to the end, because you're going to see me unbox it. You're going to see me take it to the range. You're going to see me have tons of problems with it. But that's what I experienced. And then I'm going to talk about sending it back in. And then like here we are like 4 or 5 weeks later, getting a brand new one that they addressed all the issues with, and it works like a champ. So I just want to document that. And they said it was okay. They said, please put out all of the information. We own up to having to have a learning curve with this as much as you are having to learn how to shoot it. And for me, that says a lot about the company, that they're not trying to hide things. They didn't ask me to not say anything negative about the product. But I have to say my final thoughts on it is this is an amazing product. it really works well. And it's too bad it only works on the Gen 4, not the Gen 5s or the Gen 3s. But for the cost, which I'm not going to list here because I don't want YouTube to think I'm selling anything because I don't sell guns. And I don't want to, I guess, not future-proof this video. Because if I say it's this now, well, someone's going to see this video 5 years from now and go, you're an idiot. It doesn't cost that much. Like, I know it doesn't cost that much now. But anyway, it's a good deal. And you get a barrel slide, RMR cut, fiber optic sights. It's a good deal. And now that they fixed the issues with the springs, the extractor, and the RMR cut, it ran 100%, great accuracy, and this comp works, or these ports work really good. So overall, the accuracy, I say, is good duty or practical accuracy, but when I started to shoot this gun fast, man, does this gun want to push down. Like, it wants to push down a lot, because you got 4 big old ports on the top, and they work. So yeah, this turned out really good. So I think when people see the review, they're going to think, I'm going to turn it away. It's a piece of junk. But I got to let people know in the beginning, watch to the end, because it completely changes. And we got some great tests in with this, a lot of good footage, and it works like it should. And they knocked it out of the park with this. So really happy with it. And I do appreciate their integrity as a company, willing to own up to their initial mistakes, say what the mistakes are, let those be out there. And I want to document that in case anybody would get one of these, have issues with it, know what the problem is so it can be fixed. Because there might be a few of those early ones that have already gotten out in the wild, and they need to be taken care of. And this company definitely with Dera, I think is how you pronounce it. I think in the videos I say it's Dera, but it's Dera. Dera, D-E-R-Y-A. So that's the first impressions on that. And this video is going to be kind of hard to put together because it's filmed at so many different times. And I have to really make sure that I map it out right. So anyway, there you go. That is the upcoming projects and first impressions on a Smith & Wesson M&P9 Shield Plus, the latest one, the Rost Martin pistol. And let me know if you know anything about these, and the Dera Island kit for the Glock 19 Gen 4. So a great day here at the Texas Gun Vault. A lot of cool stuff on the table. So let me know your thoughts. Thanks for joining me here in the garage. And the word of the day, if you want to participate, is Rost. R-O-S-T, because we're reviewing the Rost Martin. And that is a weird word. I don't know how you can use that in a sentence without saying just the name of the gun, because I think it's just a proper noun. It's not like a an actual word or adverb or adjective or anything like that, just Rost. Anyway, there you go. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you, as always, for joining me here in my hot garage and being part of the Texas Gun Vault experience. So, as always, thanks for watching.